Yes, champ. What are you saying? Now I'm doing a live right now, but I'm saying the great Muhammad Ali's birthday today. I see that you posted it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is Lennox Lewis I'm talking to. What was your feelings on? I know you used to love Ali. What was your feelings on Ali, Lennox?
Great man. You know, I kind of used him as a hero and a model even for my boxing, because I would always think, if they put me in a movie or in a skit, would Muhammad Ali do it?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Yeah,
I remember what you said. I remember you said that. Sorry to cut you. I remember you said that on Des O'Connor in 1991, the Des O'Connor Tonight Show, and they asked you, would you ever do pantomime? And you said Lennox Lewis would never wear a skirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then also my boxing career, I would think, well, what would Muhammad Ali do?
Okay.
And then, it's like, if I'm getting hit, I'm like, yo, I'm not practicing float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Don't get hit. Movement. I look at my fights and say, what would Muhammad Ali do? He'd be moving, making sure he's balanced. He'd be jabbing.
Like you see your fight with Razor Ruddock, October 31st, 1992. Halloween night. I'll never forget that, because I remember going to that fight and sneaking my way down to ringside. And I sat beside your mum for that fight, right? And like, I remember that fight. And I would say to anybody, go and watch Lennox Lewis versus Razor Ruddock, because you was hitting and moving, very reminiscent to Muhammad Ali. Yeah, I mean, you used to kind of cut your hair like Muhammad Ali as well, a little bit. Yes, you did, Lennox. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that fight there, it was the way you boxed in that fight. I know you was watching Ali, because the way that you was popping. Someone's got a question for you. It said, Spence, please ask Lennox, is Ray Mercer his toughest ever he's fought? Is Ray Mercer the toughest you ever fought?
No, it wasn't. It was every fight is tough, because every fight you prepare for differently. So for Ray Mercer, I was prepared for that. You know what I mean? Them putting me in a small ring and trying to take advantage of his inside fighting, but they were testing my heart. But I proved that I had a big heart. So,
bro, let me tell you this: when man will turn around and say, "Oh, Lennox Lewis can't take a shot. Lennox Lewis didn't have no heart," that fight shut all the critics up. Because when I watch like fights of yours, like the negative from like Larry Merchant, the negative that them man there, it's like they had some different. You know why? Because you weren't American.
Right.
The hatred that they had for you, was some different level. Different level. So what was your toughest fight then, Lennox? If that wasn't, which one? Since I could answer Ben Oldham, which was your toughest fight?
Tough fights, I don't look at them as tough fights. I look at them as learning experiences.
Okay.
Such as, if I had difficulty with you, it's like, okay, I'll go back and say, well, what was the difficulty? And try and correct that. So I wouldn't say they're tough fights. I just, no fight's going to be easy. Everybody's going to have their own remedy that we have to put in to solve how they box.
Okay.
And some fights I would learn as we get into the fights, or some fights I would learn before the fights, and these tactics would work. Right.
And next thing, since this is Muhammad Ali's birthday, a lot of people do not know, right, that when the Muhammad Ali sports centers were opened, right? But I know Lennox Lewis donated $250,000 towards the Muhammad Ali Foundation, right? And I remember Colin Hart asked you, no, sorry, not Colin Hart, Jeff Powell, who used to write for The Independent, said, Lennox, why did you do that? And Lennox said, well, it's Muhammad Ali, and done.
Yeah, it's Muhammad Ali. I mean, I'm glad I'm still the one that's gave the most money towards his foundation. But I think that his foundation is a great foundation. Muhammad Ali is the greatest, and he would always, forever be the greatest.
Yep. Fifi says, Spence, can you give Lennox Lewis greetings from the Netherlands? And also, how much more can you improve when you change trainers like AJ is doing? Thanks, Spence. All right.
Well, that's an easy question because the new trainer is going to obviously come with his own philosophy and what AJ needs. So he will help him because he will be teaching him something AJ's never known before, and it's a different philosophy. So I'm not saying if it's a good philosophy or a bad philosophy. I imagine that it's an improvement because he probably sees some places where AJ needs to improve. So he will be give some good antidotes to what he's got up against him.
Okay. This is what I like to know is like, if those guys were fighting in your day, Len, right? Like, I say like your top 3 all-time heavyweights. Tunde Ajayi trainer Anthony Yard said that you are the best heavyweight of all time, right?
Thank you, Tunde.
No, that's what Tunde believes. He said, listen, I remember like after Yard came second best against Lyndon Arthur, he was coming and said, I want some certain fights to go study. I gave him 5 fights of yours to study. I gave him 5 fights of Larry Holmes to study. I gave him some Michael Spinks to study. I gave him some Mike Tyson. I gave him some Sugar Ray. I gave him quite a few fights. He was on it. And he come back and said, you know what? Lennox Lewis is the greatest heavyweight of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, listen, great. You know, I look at myself as one of the greats because I don't think there can ever be one great guy in history because there's different eras. Different guys came at different eras. It would be great if all 10 guys came the same era, and then we can say, yeah. But we came at different eras. We had different things that affected us, different things that motivated us, and different things that we fought for. So, but we all wanted to be champions, and we all realized that, you know, it takes a lot of work to be champion, and we sacrificed, and we made it. So I'm in a room full of men that made it. Okay.
There's certain fights in your career, Lennox, that didn't happen for you, yeah? And you, like Ali, was a man that was world heavyweight champion 3 times. A lot of people seem to forget that, right?
Actually, 2 times.
No.
That's 3?
Of course it's 3.
Right?
Okay. Right?
I thought it was 2.
No, because maybe you want to take away the time. No, maybe you want to take away the time that when you was awarded the WBC crown after you beat Razor Ruddock in '92, right? The 31st of October. Maybe you want to sugar. I say no, but then you lost the title, regained the title, lost the title again against Hassan Ratman, and then that hellacious knockout is one of the most brutalist knockouts in heavyweight boxing history, where you clapped him out and he landed on top of the Don King crown inside the ring. So that makes you free to, by my accounts, I don't know, my maths ain't that good, but my accounts, that's 3 times, right?
Listen, if I didn't lose, I would not know how great I am.
1,000,000%. Right. Ren71, thank you for the £5 donation, says, Lennox has never been given the credit he deserves. Great champion.
Yes, big up. Yes, enough people said that. Enough people are saying that. But you know what I mean? My reward comes with age. I'm like fine wine. I get better in time.
And we're seeing that now. If you was around today, how do you believe that you would have gotten against the likes of Anthony Joshua, against a Fury, against a Dillian Whyte, against a Deontay Wilder? How do you believe you'd have gotten against those guys?
Well, you know, I look at that as, you know, this era of fighters, and you know, as fighters, as champions, where we learn to say to ourselves, like, nobody can't beat us, nobody can't defeat us. As a champion, we're built that way. And I find it doesn't really matter what era we come from. So I don't really want to say anything. I think it's really up to the people because the people watch us the most. I will say, yeah, I can beat everybody.
Yeah.
Another heavyweight say, no, I can beat everybody. But that's what they're supposed to say. I don't hold it against them. So you know what I'm gonna say. You know, I'm the pugilist specialist.
1,000,000%. And no guy tests.
No guy.
Ben Oldham, thank you for your £50. Ben Oldham says, Lord Lennox, did you cut corners with training camp for Vitali? You seemed exhausted.
Well, let me tell you, I wasn't supposed to fight Vitali. I was supposed to fight a guy from Canada, Kurt Johnson.
Kurt Johnson, you're the most. Yeah. You didn't have to train for Kurt Johnson. I know that for a fact. But
right, and he caught me at the beginning of the year. I was supposed to fight Klitschko at the end of the year, but they paid Kurt Johnson not to fight.
So they tried to set you up. That was HBO. That was HBO, right?
HBO saying that, oh, we only got one day, you should take it. Talking to Manny, telling Manny, oh, you should take it. You know, things like that. I wasn't fully ready after my training, but it was a chance to, you know, affect the next era. So I did. I said, if I beat everybody in my era and the best guy in the next era, that's 2 eras in one.
Right. So you see, with the retirement, a lot of people, and even Emmanuel Stewart, because Emmanuel Stewart kind of turned on you as well, because Emmanuel Stewart was saying, nah, you should come back and fight Vitali. That's when he's working with him, right?
Yeah.
So he's looking to pay off for another house, right?
Yeah.
Why
he knows it would have been problems for Vitali.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
So this is something. Did you learn this from Ali? Because did you learn from the mistakes of Ali? Like, you watch right throughout history. We're looking at fighters. Joe Louis went on too long. You know what I mean? Ali went on too long. Did you learn from when you sit down and watching these old great champions going on too long? You think, well, I just not gonna go on too long. I know like this is it for me now. You know what I mean? Because
Let me tell you, it was easy for me because I used to tell everybody that Muhammad Ali is my hero. And they say, yeah, he's a great boxer, but then you think he boxed too long. Look at him now. Look at the state of him now. And I'm like, yeah. He may have boxed a bit too long, but you know, I'm gonna retire when it's the right time. So I wanted to retire at the right time. I wanted to leave with all my faculties and you know, leave a champion.
I think you've done all of those kind of things because you left with your faculties, you left as a champion, and also you left remarkably wealthy, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
No, well, I'm telling you, what do you mean? You got a beautiful wife and children. You know what I mean? You know when God blows that shine on you. I'm saying like if I was to look back at your career, right? The fight that made the whole of Great Britain be on a standstill was your fight when you fought. Was that 94? It was 94. When you fought October 94, when you fought Frank Bruno.
Yeah, I was gonna say Razor Ruddock too.
No, that was a big fight. The Razor Ruddock fight was a big. Trust me, that was a big fight because I remember then the Razor Ruddock fight. I was 19 years old. I was working for a financial company then. I remember I bought tickets for me, my partner at the time, and Danny Williams, and we went to the fight. And the £50 tickets were up in the gods. And I told you, I wrangled my way down. I told everyone, your cousin. I wrangled my way down, and I got round to ringside to watch that fight. And to me, that was surreal because there was great guys there. Because on the undercard, you had Espana beating Merdrick Taylor for the WBA welterweight crown. And I got
what a great fight that was.
Wicked fight. But at the time when I was there, I got to meet. You know what I mean? I got to meet George Benton, who's an incredible trainer, and I got to meet him. Yeah. He was a wicked fighter as well. But I got to meet all. I was like, yeah. I got to meet Mike McCallum, took pictures with those guys. That fight was a big fight. But the fight that had Great Britain on standstill, the fight of Britain, that was the Battle of Britain, was your fight against Frank Bruno. How good was Frank Bruno?
Well, you know the funny thing, right? I used to see Frank Bruno on TV boxing, and you know he would do well, and I'm like, yo, why are they giving Frank Bruno easy opponents for? I gotta knock that guy out. I wanna knock that guy out. So I actually thought Frank Bruno was a bit easier than I expected. So when I went in the ring, I went in a little bit cold. You know, he was a bit warm. I was cold, but he started fast. I mean, he started with his jab, and I could hear him going, doom, doom, doom. So he wanted to took me.
You know, I'm gonna be real with you. I knew you was in trouble in that fight from when you came out to your Bob Marley track, Chase Those Crazy Barheads, right? And Frank Bruno was in the ring skanking. Remember, Frank Bruno started skanking in the ring, you know, like the roots of culture, because I remember you said some derogatory things about Frank. You called him Uncle Tom, and that burned him. That burned him, you know. Yeah. And so Frank Bruno really wanted to give it to you, you know that.
Yeah.
He wanted to give it to you.
No, he was out to get me. Even the fact that when I caught him, he was giving me some little uppercuts. And to me, that was like a little bit of a disrespect. So I kind of launched out at him like, yo,
big left hook. Yeah, big left hook. And then Mickey Van was the referee.
Right. Then he did his drunken master style. So I was coming after him, and the referee saved him a couple times. That was a good ref at the time. Yeah, he pushed me back because I was out to slaughter. And then, you know, obviously, you know, it was 15 unanswered punches, so the refs did have to stop it.
Boy, that is serious. Like I said, Jason Reynolds was...
Hey, let me tell you, when the Battle of Britain comes with two British heavyweights, it's serious business. Serious business. That's like, yo, you know, who will be king type of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, in the future, you know, there might be another Battle of Britain again, and it is, who will be king?
Well, there could be a Battle of Britain. Hopefully, we could see Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte in a Battle of Britain. But I think the real Battle of Britain is not going to be at heavyweight, but be at light heavyweight. And it's going to be Anthony Yard. When Anthony Yard hopefully destroys this Smith brother for the WBO World Light Heavyweight title. And it would be Joshua Buatsi, because I know Joshua Buatsi came out to Lennox Lewis Foundation as well. But those two men ending up fighting, and that will be the real Battle of Britain.
Okay. Well, is that going to be this year?
Well, we don't know what's going to happen, but, you know what I mean? Tunde's, not only is Tunde Anthony Yard's manager, but he's his trainer. So hopefully they get the fight against Smith. And when they get Joe Smith, he boxed on the weekend. And if they get that, because everyone's trying to run down the Canelo fight, because it's like people don't want to fight no more. They just want to earn as much money as they can and just retire now. They don't want to fight.
Listen, all I want you to do is watch Marvin Hagler Mugabe.
Come on, man.
You want to see a middleweight fight? Watch that fight.
Come on, man.
I was watching yesterday. I was like, whoa, good man.
Come on, man. That was October of 85, of 84. No, of 86, sorry, of 86, May of 86, my apologies. Big boy fight. Big boy fight.
You know what's so big about it is because Mugabe is coming up and saying, yo, I beat everybody at my weight down here, I'm coming after you. And didn't know he ready to go big, I'm on a rough, man.
Yeah, trust me. But like I was saying, Jason Reynolds is in agreement with Tunde saying, yeah, Lennox Lewis is the best heavyweight of all time. Tunde always says that.
I can say that for myself. Good evening, Lennox Lewis. Good evening, Mr. Lennox. Good evening, Mr. Lennox.
All right, bless him.
Yes, sir. I was telling Spencer a while back, after going through your illustrious career, there is no doubt in my mind that Lennox Lewis is one of, if not the greatest heavyweights of all time. Man, that's what I'm saying.
Man. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. The athleticism, the power, The athleticism, the power, the confidence, everything was there. It's something I have to push in my fighter because you was a general. You was a general. And I love the whole composure, the aura. You didn't need to talk bad about a man. You just went in there and broke up a man. And I respect you highly, Lennox. Trust me.
Hey, give Ali thanks, man. Ali thanks, for real.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. They use and my version just signed a heavyweight. You know, I think you know him. Spencer Courtney just signed a heavyweight who signed for boxer Jamie TV. Okay, but I'm encouraging any young aspiring heavyweight to lock yourself in a room and watch Lennox Lewis. Just push on Lennox Lewis tape and learn the art of boxing. That's what I'm telling you. Tunde Ajayi
And not only that, you talk about the art of boxing, the way Lennox Lewis could control you with the jab, that jab was serious,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Listen, all I have to say is, there's the guys that have me in the gym right now on tape where they put my fights on to show people this is the way you need to do this.
Yes.
So I'm glad that I'm able to do that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One question I wanted to ask you, Lennox, is how do you feel the training has differed to the time when you was boxing as opposed to today's training? How these youths train opposed to your training methods?
Listen, what I found when I was training, is that getting away from the everyday hustle and bustle, your wife, your friends, and totally focusing on boxing was the best thing for me because I set certain, disciplines of myself. There's a hill that's 3 miles up on a steady incline. At my training camp, that's what I have to do. I have to run that every day to make sure that I'm in great shape. And boxing every day, bringing in the right guys every day, but I couldn't do that at home. So I found a great training camp in the Poconos. Anytime I came off the hill, no guy test. I was in great
Come on.
The only fight I wasn't really prepared for was the Klitschko fight because he took me right after I boxed Tyson, and we had a great Christmas and a great great few months on holiday. And then when I came back, I wasn't supposed to start with him, but I jumped ahead. Somebody jumped the queue, and I started with him. This man was training for me already. So, but at my worst, I still beat him.
Yes, sir.
Ben Odom's got another question in.
Yes.
And he
Ben Odom
says,
go on, Spence.
Yeah, he said, who wins, the Lennox Lewis that fought Razor or the Ball that fought Holyfield?
In what fight?
He's saying, who wins, the Lennox that fought Razor, he meant to mean, versus the Ball that fought Holyfield? One. So the Riddick Ball that fought Evander Holyfield, which, and people need things to forget, that fight was only a week apart, right? The Lennox Lewis that when you beat Razor Ruddock, would you have beaten the Riddick Ball that beat Holyfield?
All right, I can answer that question by telling you to do some research. Look what happened to Tyrell Biggs when I met him in professionals. This is 3 years after the Olympics. All I was lacking was a little, I was lacking experience. Now that I got the experience, he was in trouble. Pure clock and get.
Come on, wait there. You hear that? Come on. Yes, sir.
So if you'd have fought, do you think you'd have knocked out Riddick Ball if you'd have fought the Riddick Ball of 1992 that fought Evander Holyfield?
Listen, all I have to do, this question is an easy question for me, I don't have to, anybody listens to this
Come on.
You know, when you see what's the guy from he went two fights with Andrew Galata.
Galata. And you knock out Galata vicious in one round.
I took Galata in 30 seconds.
Yeah, that was a big boy victory.
That was a awesome performance. Awesome performance.
Because a lot of people didn't think he was going to win that fight, you know?
The shock on Galata's face when he held the right hand. Serious. Great fight, Lennox. I mean, there's so many great fights that you had. Credit to the sport. And I love the way you carried yourself throughout your career. And as I said, you're a beacon for the heavyweights, how they're supposed to conduct themselves, how they're supposed to train, and yeah. And you know, you finished your career, full faculties, and you look like you could move around today. I see you in a little interview the other day, and Riddick Ball step up. You look like you was gonna roast him and the thing. I was like,
Riddick Ball has said some bad things about me throughout history.
Yes.
So I don't, all of a sudden he comes walking over to me, wants to shake hands, and let's say put it behind us. I'm like, listen, you've been in a lot of sucker punch situations, so I'm not taking no chances.
Yeah, I see that. You were sharp. I see you was even looking in the direction of the cameraman. You're looking in the direction of the cameraman like, bro, any man try it.
Be ready.
Yes.
This is one thing I wanted to ask you, Len. There's major talk on, like, Anthony Joshua's now not training with what's his name again? Robert McCracken, right? And now that it's Bobby Wright, this guy's a good guy, he's a military guy. Bobby Wright said, it's not a question, I just want to say, Lennox Lewis, you are the king.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Right.
Yes,
Ben Oldham, stop them thing there. You know, sit down pan both hours, I run off him up pan Lennox Lewis. Ciao. Anyway, yeah. So I want to say this. With Anthony Joshua, like, changing training and everything else, we know this part, yeah. But what advice would you give to Anthony Joshua if he was to take this rematch with Usyk? And how would you fight Usyk if you were in his position?
For me, fighting Usyk would be, you know, it would be a mission. It would be a mission in the sense of where I have to win this mission. I have to make it. So, you know, when you say how I would fight him, I'll go right at him. It's a war. You know,
as Tunde said, roadman thing.
What did I say? That's how Anthony Joshua has to fight that fight.
1 second.
They tried that with me. They tried that with me a couple times. And the way I dealt with it is I gave them something they didn't know. You know, the first time that happened to me, I think it was, who was that again? Zoltan Magrovich.
Yeah.
I started. He was coming strong. Then I switch up my style on him and start giving some right hand leads.
I'm gonna watch that fight after now.
Watch that fight. Right hand leads, smash him up.
I have to watch that fight after the show.
That's a big boy fight.
Because I saw a comment with Miss.
With the right hand leads.
Yes.
So would you think that is going to be pivotal for Anthony Joshua in fighting a southpaw and Usyk to throw a lot of right hand leads and jump on him?
Well, you know, it's really up to this trainer and what the plan is. I think they should go in with a plan this time. I couldn't understand why they were saying they didn't have no plan. How do you have no plan? You know, you're a heavyweight champion and you're boxing another champion. You gotta have a plan. So I don't know what that was.
Exactly. Miss Ringside VIP, she said, big up Lennox. I first got into boxing at the Mike Tyson v Lennox fight on June 8th, 2002. I went to see this on my birthday at the Sports Cafe in Haymarket. Big up, Miss Ringside VIP.
Nice. Big up, big up.
Come on.
So yes, Lennox, it's been an amazing pleasure to have you on the show.
Ask me one more question, please.
All right then. You lot get your questions in. Lennox is on a roll today. Because usually like to bonfire on our show. But right, but catch him today because it's Ali's birthday.
Catch me today, yes.
Yeah, catch him.
Michael Thompson says, just want to say a huge respect to a true great while I have the opportunity. So big up Michael Thompson. He just wants to say respect Lennox.
Big up Michael Thompson. Big up, big up. Thank you very much.
All right, keep your questions for him because Lennox is on a roll. I didn't want to keep him, but he's all right. Keep your questions coming. Talk about the great man. All right, 2 more questions. Go on.
All right. Selena Alajula, she says, would Lennox give AJ some help as he came back from defeat and overcame in revenge? Does he think AJ has too many teachers? Lennox would be great as he could give him a good slap when needed. I don't think Lennox is gonna slap him to teach him. That's not how you teach, man. But would you be up for giving AJ some advice? I know you two had a bit of a taff in the past, but I know you're a bigger man for all of that.
Let me tell you, Spencer tell you this. Every time I talk is advice.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. If
Yes.
you don't want to listen, then you don't want to learn. If you want to listen to other people and not listen to the people that made that role already, I made that tracks already. It was a hard track, but I made it to the top. If you don't want to listen to somebody that's been there, that's up to you.
Yes, and I remember.
That goes to anybody. You know, somebody's giving you advice. You got to know who's giving you the advice. And if it's coming from the right person, you got to take it.
Yes. Talk the thing, Lennox. And I remember when that thing was going on, I remember Spencer phoned me straight and he said, nah, what AJ, that's disrespect. You can't chat about Lennox like that. Lennox has been there, done it, got the t-shirt. It's best you just humble yourself and listen. But you know, a lot of these youngsters nowadays, they are misadvised. But you know, it's the same adage, you know, learn from the elders, the people who have done it. And
that's how I got to be good, you know, because I listened and watched.
Yes.
And I listened to people that were older than me. I listened to people that's been there.
There you go.
And I didn't want to make their mistakes.
Yes, sir.
So
anything
I went forward with, boy, it was thought out. So I didn't want to make those mistakes.
Yes, sir. That's a fantastic answer there, Lennox. Listen to people that have been there and done it, you know, and make sure it's coming from the right place. Sometimes all these people that are around you, they're trying to, that's like me. You know, I've got a certain way I do things, and it's so funny how people want to all of a sudden become Emmanuel Stewart and Eddie Futch, and you ain't been there. So what am I listening to you for? You ain't been there. I want to listen.
Hey, you said something so right. That, you know, you gotta even to this degree, right? For me, you know, when I first came in there, you know, I got friends that are lawyers, got friends that are doctors. But do they have the degree? No. Do they have experience? No. I get doctors that have the degree and have the experience. So if anything comes up, they've met it already.
Yes, sir.
So that's why it's important to surround yourself with the feet. If you're paying them, make sure they're experts.
1,000,000%. And seeing as we're talking about experts, yeah, you've seen that the WBC has made a purse split for Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. And they put it out as 80-20 in favor of Tyson Fury. If you was Dillian Whyte, yeah, would you take that just to say you're fighting for the world heavyweight title? And what do you think would happen if Tyson Fury meets up with Dillian Whyte?
Listen, me.
Let's cut out this bit.
Actually,
Sorry, Lennox. We never got the first part of your Lennox. Can you say that again? Because we never got the first part of what you said. It cut out.
Oh, I was saying that me and Dillian Whyte are different fighters. I was offered the same thing Dillian Whyte was offered to box Holyfield. I said I'll take it. You know why? I'll take it because once I beat Holyfield, I can get everything. And if it costs me to get there, as long as I get there.
There you go. That is the message for Dillian Whyte. Lennox, the great Lennox Lewis, has said he was offered the same thing, and his view was once I beat him, all the belt, everything is mine. So then you have to live by his rules. So I believe that's the best thing as well. Spencer's really echoed what you've just said, Lennox, and great advice.
Yeah, man. I mean, how many times are you going to be able to box for the heavyweight championship of the world?
Facts. Bobby Wright, thank you for your 449. He says, Lennox, if you was fighting today, who would you have as a trainer?
That's a good question, Bobby.
That's a good question.
Easy question.
Go on.
Tyson Fury's trainer.
Sugar Hill.
Bro, Sugar Hill's over the hill, bro.
I'll live forever.
Come on, because he's carrying in the spirit.
You're gonna be biased because you know Sugar Hill from He's a Baby, and yeah, but you know.
I've got a couple other ones, but I'm gonna keep those secret.
Okay.
Good trainers too. Nobody knows them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. I think we're gonna let the champ go now.
Yes,
because
sir.
It's been a great pleasure on Muhammad Ali's great birthday. Your closing words on Muhammad Ali for the audience on The Fight Is Right, Lennox.
I would say, Muhammad Ali, like I said, he's a guy that a lot of boxers should try and emulate in the sense of what he believed in. Flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee, hit and not be hit. It's better to have a good offense. That's your defense if you have a good offense. And that he was a great man, that he spent his life caring about people. And even through his thing that he went through with Parkinson's, he still gave of himself. So, lots of love and respect goes out to this great icon, this man, Muhammad Ali. The greatest.
Wicked, Lennox. Thank you very much, man. The great,
ladies and gentlemen,
3 times world heavyweight champion, the last undisputed heavyweight champion. We don't even know if we're going to see another undisputed for now, We don't. I mean, the great Lennox, the Lion Lewis.
Yeah.
Respect.
No guy test.
Respect. No guy test. Come on.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the black book is powerful. The one and only knowledge. This, bruv, I'm telling you, when Spencer draws on that black book, it's bare Obia is working on that. Ubakaba. And bruv, we just can't come up with anyone. The Fight Is Right is the best podcast, period.
That's the last undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
And
I don't
if you
want
want
to talk out Noah's mouth.
If you want the real knowledge, you have to tune in to The Fight Is Right. It's just the way it goes. You just have to accept it. And young man Sami Ali, we're not even calling your name because you're a young boy. You don't disagree with man that's been there, done it. You just come in this thing the other day. You have to learn. I've told you this before. You got to start learning respect. You can't just start saying things. And I'm saying this here as an older person. You can't just be typing nonsense. Bruv, this is Lennox Lewis. This man has walked it. You just start boxing the other day. So have some respect, Learn respect. Most times you have to be humble to learn. As Lennox said, you have to listen. Listen to those that have walked the path. And then you may learn. Spencer?
I mean, I ain't got nothing more to say. We've had a
Come on.
fantastic show. We was looking to cut off the show an hour in, and you know what? I said, "Cha, it's Ali's birthday today, so there was no one more fitting than the last undisputed heavyweight champion of the world to come on the team and
What a way to
bust the
sign.
show.
Bust
You know
the
what I
thing
mean?
up.
Yeah,
Bust the
that
thing
is
up.
it. So
Come on.
that's all I gotta say. So as Tunde says in closing,
Ladies and gentlemen, after another epic episode, we sign off by saying, dream it, believe it, become it.
come on down. Thank you to every single person who came on the chat, everybody who ticked like, everybody who subscribed, everybody who jumped onto the super chats, everybody who didn't jump on the super chats but sent a question in, all the same. I got to speak to the great Lennox Lewis. I have to speak up my brother from another mom, Baba Tunde Ajayi, and the man with the cam who's got the plan, Gary Blake, who is never late. Peace, two fingers, we are out. Press up the buttons. No guy can't test this podcast because we don't need to show you no glitz and glads because you see my black book. My black book can cook. Peace, two fingers, we're out.
Ooh,